The Sitting Cuties line of Pokemon plushes, called Pokemon Fit in Japan, is the only official merch line that depicts every single Pokemon. Well, at least it eventually will. They release in waves, starting with Generation 1, then Gen 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and then, in May 2024, something happened that scared me deeply. Generation 6 Alola Sitting Cuties were announced. And I don't know if you can count, but you know what comes after 6? 7. Oh no. Once these plushes released, it was only a matter of time before... No. Oh, no. They're actually gonna make Generation 7. I'm not ready. If you're new here, you're probably confused. Why am I scared of Generation 7? Well, I'm not. But my wallet is. See, so far, I've only been collecting Sitting Cuties of my favorite Pokemon. They're usually around 15 bucks each, and most of my favorites are pretty obscure, and also most of my favorites show up after Gen 6. So I never really needed to collect too many. But, well, you see, completely coincidentally, right around the time the Generation 6 Sitting Cuties were announced, I was planning out the rough roadmap for the biggest shiny hunting project I would ever embark on for this channel. And when the Kalos Mons were released in Japan, it was right around when I started on this big plan. My shiny Alola Dex quest. The only living dex I could ever see myself doing, because I couldn't possibly make myself shiny hunt a Pokemon that I don't like. And the thing with the Alola Dex is that I like all of them. And so when Alola inevitably receives its wave of Sitting Cuties, if I were to narrow it down to only buying my favorites from the region, I was gonna have a problem. Cause, well, I obviously gotta get the starters, and the Tapus, and the box legends, and at that point I may as well get the Alolan forms, and the Lycanrocs, and the Ultra Beasts, and while I'm here I gotta get the version inclusive pairs, and the Oricorios, and my favorite obscure pigs from the region, and... Do you see my problem? Just like the shiny forms, when it comes to the Sitting Cuties, I gotta catch them all. But at a 1 in 4,096 chance, catching the entire shiny Alola Dex only costs my time and sanity. Whereas at 15 bucks a pop on average, buying the entire plush Alola Dex would cost my time, sanity, and real actual money. It would be a horrible financial decision. But, like my need to have every Gen 7 shiny, there was an itch in my brain. I hadn't even seen what the plushes looked like yet, but I knew they would be perfect, and I would need all of them. Except that would be a horrible idea for someone whose job is making Pokemon videos and writing books, which is to say, whose job isn't yet? Like and subscribe? Anyway, so I hatched a plan. You were my plan. I figured that if I could somehow reach 10,000 subscribers on TheNovaLeague before the Alola Sitting Cuties were announced, I can embark on a stream marathon mission to crowdfund an Alola Sitting Cutie Dex, but I had no idea how much time I had to hit that mark. If I didn't reach it by the time they were announced, I didn't think that I could meet my goal. Also, how am I going to convince strangers on the internet to give me money for no reason? I kind of felt bad about it even, but as I floated this idea around with some other creator friends, they insisted that it was a good idea, and that I did in fact need to get all the Alola Sitting Cuties. I'm surrounded by enablers. But this all felt like some far-off nebulous plan that I'd have forever to think about before it actually happened. But then, in April of this year, oh no, I wasn't ready. We hadn't hit my arbitrary goal of 10,000 subscribers yet. There's no way there were enough people out there crazy enough to give me money for no reason. Is this plan even gonna work? Am I going to have a living dex of plushes to go with my living dex of shinies? Who are we kidding? You're watching this video. You know what the answer is. Welcome to the TheNovaLeague, I'm Gremlin, and you all are the best community on YouTube, hands down. And by you all, I don't just mean the league heads, I mean the wider shiny hunting community as a whole. I have never seen a community quite like this one. I am continuously baffled by the generosity of all those who help me make this possible, but before we get into that, I've got some more yapping to do. This is my shiny Alola Dex quest, and also my plush Alola Dex quest. In this video, I've got a few shiny targets for the Dex, all of which are plush related, like Stufful, Bewear, Komala, and Mimikyu. Each of which I'll talk about more when we get to them, but on top of those 4 shinies, I have a few targets for the plush Dex as well, those being, all of them. The entire thing? You get it. First, let's run down how I convinced a bunch of strangers to give me money for no reason. Most importantly, I think the Alola Dex Quest series has firmly established to the viewers of this channel that I am in fact Alola's #1 fan. By the time the Generation 7 Sitting Cuties were announced, I had already uploaded the first 7 episodes of Alola propaganda and solidified myself in the minds of YouTube and Twitch viewers as the Alola guy. But beyond that, I wanted there to be some sort of incentive so that people weren't throwing money at me for no reason. Using the average Sitting Cutie price tag, I estimated that I would need around $2,000 to make this dream a reality, and that is a lot to ask of people. To tell you the truth, I didn't think that we'd hit the mark, and so I told myself that if I passed at least the halfway point, I would eat the rest of the cost myself, as much as even that would be considered a bad financial decision. But if I didn't make it past halfway, I would take the funds and donate them to charity so they didn't go to waste. But in order to incentivize going over the halfway point, I decided to put together a sort of adoption system. Depending on how much a viewer donated, they were given naming rights to claim a certain Pokemon. Like, for instance, my mom, who jumped into a stream and donated $15, which gave her the right to claim a Turtonator plush and name it Gremlin Mom. Thanks, Mom. And to add an incentive to not only reach the goal, but destroy it, I decided that any excess funds would be donated to the Hawaii Wildlife Center. It only feels right that after spending all this time exploring a fictional Hawaii and admiring its fictional ecology, that we pay that forward a bit and help maintain a real Hawaii's real ecology, as a sort of thanks. And there was one last piece of this puzzle remaining. The biggest motivator of all, competition. See, I would be accepting donations not just during whatever I happen to be streaming, but only during my attempt on completely separate files from the Shiny Dex quest to catch a full non-Shiny Living Dex. It was a race. Could you all fund a Sitting Cutie Alola Dex before I could catch a full Alola Dex? And to give myself more time, I had to catch all the Pokemon in the region, not just the Generation 7 guys. If I complete the Dex before they can fund it, I win. Except really I lose, because now the Plush Dex isn't funded. But if chat funds a Plush Dex before I can catch them all, I lose. Except really I win, because now I have a Plush Dex. Either way, I'm technically winning, but there's only one way for chat to win. Let's see how this all started. This might be the stupidest thing I've ever done. You guys have basically until I beat the game and complete the Living Dex. I think I'm gonna win. If you guys complete the Dex before I do, I don't know what happens. But it's not possible. The first donation came in before I even obtained a single Pokemon in the Dex, which should have been a sign that I underestimated the power of the League heads. The first donor was Sea Shrubs, and the first plush claimed and funded was Blacephalon, given the nickname Radiant. And not too long after, still before I picked my starter, Lurantis was claimed by Sylveon Fleurs and nicknamed Thumbelina. And as I was getting my starters, Star Shrimp claimed both Type Null and Silvally, named Star and Shrimp respectively, which was instantly followed up by Zanizatu claiming Epona the Mudsdale and Egoblox claiming Ego the Zergatry. I finally got my starters, registering 2 Pokemon in the Dex, while chat had registered 7. Okay, that was a reasonable gap. I could bridge that. Ellie claimed Mimikyu named Ellie, Levi claimed Incineroar named Charles. Okay, 2 to 9, but it's okay. The beginning of the game is slow. Surely I'll Dandelion the Cutiefly from Otter Bay, PK Yaoi the Executor for PK Violence, Blocks the Ultra Necrozma for Egoblox, and Might and Kun the Komala from Sketchy Peppers. 1 hour into stream, 10% funded. This has to slow down at some point, right? You know, I went into this thinking that there was no way I'd be able to fund the Dex if we didn't at least have 10,000 subscribers on the channel, but what I neglected to take into account were the few dedicated League heads who had been here for years. Egoblox donated a 3rd time, and claimed Dink the Araquanid, followed shortly by Nexus the Ferret King claiming the entire Rockruff line at once, naming them Emily, Cliffjumper, Blood Moon, and Twilight, which was followed by Lost Galaxy Girl claiming and naming both Minior forms Galaxy Girl. And then Nexus donated again, claiming a Geodude named Kidney Stone, and Versa Matrix followed soon after with Versa the Dartrix, and Explodin claimed Lavos the Golisopod. By this point, I'd actually made significant progress in the Dex, catching about a box's worth of Pokemon, but at this point I was starting to realize that giving chat the goal of funding just the Gen 7 Pokemon and giving me the goal of catching all of the Pokemon available in Alola may have been a mistake. I thought that I needed to give myself the disadvantage to give chat the chance to win, but it seemed as if my struggle only fueled them to donate more. Absolblog's Pokemon jumped in with claiming Tapu Bulu and he named it John McCain, and then Pokemonica jumped in with a donation large enough to claim a full evolutionary line, but chose instead to just name Picky Peck Kinder. I hadn't anticipated this before, that we could possibly reach the goal and not have every plush claimed and named, but I assumed this pattern wouldn't continue. I probably shouldn't assume. Absol came back with another donation that clearly wasn't actually from Kotatsu and Unova, claiming a Solgaleo named Javik, which now makes Javik canon to the Alola Dex, I guess. And then the stream ended out with another 2 Pokemon claimed, Ren the Poipole from Ren Like Lauren and Cora the Delmise from Y-Rock Arts. The day ended with an honestly surprisingly close race at 18% of the decks caught on my end and 22% funded on chat's end. Reaching almost a quarter of the goal in the first day was nuts to me, but I figured that it was likely going to slow down significantly, assuming that chat had exhausted their generosity on the first day out of excitement. But with an insane amount of the plush decks already funded, it's time to take a break from the past, where I was streaming in a dark closet, and fast forward to the future, after Ruby and I moved into our new apartment, and to when I was starting the hunt for a group of plush-themed shiny Pokemon. First on my list is Stufful, an obvious pick for this video considering it is literally the teddy bear Pokemon. It has a tag and everything. This entry in the Dex is a really special one to me, actually, as it was one of the first random shinies I found in a playthrough. I remember distinctly being on vacation with my parents in 2017, sitting on a balcony overlooking a golden orange sunset, and in the game, also at sunset, I walked into the Akala outskirts for the first time, and the first encounter was a 15% full odds shiny Stufful, which also happened to be the first Stufful I ran into in that playthrough. His shiny matched the sunset. It was a truly magical moment that my parents genuinely didn't understand. My mom watches every TheNovaLeague video though, and so now, thinking back on it, I'm sure she gets it now. I must have looked insane to them at the time, but this Pokemon was really special to me. I never evolved it, I just held on to it like a trophy, and I eventually transferred it into Pokemon Home, so I don't even have one in Gen 7 anymore. It's about time I hunt one, but this time I use the SOS method, because I've got some interesting full odds hunts planned for the rest of this video, and I think one incredibly special full odds Stufful is enough for me. Let's see the shiny. But yeah, I'm hoping to get SOS Stufful today, so that I can move on to double hunting Bewear. I've got a whole video series going for the Dex quest. I also have like a physical, actual Dex quest binder that I'm filling out all my info in. I'm gonna be at Worlds. This goes for anyone who's in the stream as well, who, if you're regulars. Oh! Shiny Stufful! Yes! Oh my god! There it is! Oh! Oh! Oh, we did it! Oh, that looks so good! Oh my god, that looks so good! I think I'm gonna cry. I know it's literally just an SOS Stufful, but I was talking about it earlier in the stream, and I'm definitely gonna mention it in the video, but one of the first random shinies that I found, as like the first Stufful I saw when I reached Akala outskirts in 2017, and now seeing it in game again, it's all coming back to me. That is such a good shiny. Wow, I did not expect to have like these flashback feelings seeing this again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there it is. There it is. We just found out. We did the math. I'm exactly halfway through the Dex. Not anymore. This is the first shiny of the second half. This is the first shiny of the second half. There it is. There it is. Just like that. I love the way it like falls down and gets back up. Oof. If you're all new here from the several raids that we've had, I write books. And for my Alola Dex quest, I am naming every single Dex entry after a character or concept from one of my books. And fittingly, this Stufful will be named Books. Now, Books is a character from Void Jumpers 2, who is basically like a parody of the Care Bears. So already that fits perfectly. But it's also like a floating raccoon-looking thing with butterfly wings. And I don't know if it's a stretch or not, but Stufful's ears are kind of butterfly wing shaped. Just a little bit. I'm gonna find the drawing of Books, because there are drawings at the end of chapters. And I also want to read my favorite sentence of this book. Here's a drawing of Books. I see it. Does your village have a library that we could visit? It certainly does, though getting inside may be an issue if you're pressed for time, the cheerful fairy said. Why's that? Owag asked. Well, you see, usually Books is books bookings about a day in advance, just to make sure all the ancient texts are presentable to visitors. Is my translator malfunctioning? Sorry, could you rephrase that, please? Sure thing. See, normally, for the safety of the text and to respect his time, if someone would like to visit Books is books bookings about a day in advance. I'm gonna guess quirked up Books. It is a neutral nature. It's hardy. It's a hardcover. A regular Stufful, that's crazy, because it's 15%. And shiny Stufful. I love the luxury ball animation. My favorite part of this shiny is the orange stripe around the tail. This is perfect. First shiny of the second half. I couldn't have asked for a better one. I love this thing. Oh my god, you smile. Oh my god. There isn't a single thought in that head. There you go. Oh my god. This is one of the best Pokemon of all time. I'm so happy that I have this. Look at him. Look at his stupid little face. Back to the Plush Dex, let me give you a little peek behind the scenes. The structure of this video is a bit strange because I completely changed my original plans for the Plush fundraiser video. Originally, the Plush Dex and this episode of the Shiny Dex were going to be separate videos, but in the span of doing the Plush streams, I uploaded another batch of 7 episodes of the Alola Dex, doubling what it was when the fundraiser started, and it just so happens that the next Alola Dex video I had planned in my document was going to be this one, about plush Pokemon. Thematically, it was just too perfect. And so I won't be recapping too much of the actual gameplay and streams of the Dex race. Instead, let me take you to my throne. Chicha, you're gonna make this difficult because I have to constantly get up to pick up a new plush. It's Chicha. Look how small she is comparatively. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, we've got Blacephalon. The entire video idea is flashing before my eyes. What do I say? I mean, look at it, right? You can tell. That's what Blacephalon looks like, I think. They kind of nailed it. Chicha. I need to sit down constantly. Okay, I guess I'll just carry you with me. What's next? We've got Lurantis. The texture of the eyes is hard to see, but it really comes across with like that compound eye kind of feel. The printing quality is a little bit like they had to print the dark red onto the lighter pink, and so some of the lighter pink sort of shines through. A little bit of white as well, but besides that, this is awesome. Next up, we got Type Null and Silvally, Star and Shrimp. The funny thing about these is that they are fundamentally the same plush. The only difference really is the head. Like the body and everything is virtually identical, and the little Silvally fin thing is a little bit floppy with it, but that's kind of funny. Type Null's helmet is very scrunkled up, but I love these guys. I can't wait to shiny hunt them for the Dex. They're awesome. Mudsdale was named, but Mudbray wasn't, so I'll start with Mudbray here. He sits perfectly. This is very, Are you for real? She's fighting. She's fighting for her life right now. It's okay. She has claimed this chair as her throne, and the fact that anybody else is sitting in it right now is pissing her off. Anyway, speaking of sitting, this guy sits perfectly. I'm realizing that I don't have much to say about these. Listen, I'm biased towards Gen 7. These are all perfect. Actually, that's not true. There are a few of these I don't like. Mudsdale is not one of those, though. He's perfect. The hair things are awesome. His face looks funny. I love him. Chicha, you're gonna have to learn to share space here. Alright, next up is Xurkitree. Straight Zerk in it. This one's named Ego, I think? This Ego Blocks. Yes. Ego. Straight Zerk in it. I love this guy. He's got like a handle in the back, which is actually like the tail or third leg thing. So you just grab that and you can just kind of like, you know? Lots of neat details. The little cords are actually wrapping around 3 separate little cables, which is nice. He sits, but also it's one of those few that can actually like stand. I mean, he can't like rest like that, but you can make him stand, which is nice. Mimikyu is an interesting one, actually. This is Ellie the Mimikyu. Now, there are 2 different Mimikyu forms, and they made a different plush for each one. But the only difference is that this is the standard Mimikyu, and the other one just breaks its neck. Now, the thing is, I said that I wouldn't get both of the Mimikyu, because there's like no difference. But as I was looking at my complete collection, I realized, I can't really call it complete if I don't have the other Mimikyu. So the broken neck Mimikyu is in the mail right now, despite the fact that they are identical. As far as the plush itself, what can I say? It's Mimikyu. They nailed it. They've done Mimikyu plushes before, and this certainly is one of them. Incineroar! I love this guy. Listen, okay, I think the best compliment I can give a Sitting Cutie is that it makes me like the Pokemon that it's based off of more than I did before the Sitting Cutie existed. Now, I like every Gen 7 Pokemon. I've already liked Incineroar, but it's been an uphill battle. Ever since the games came out, it was my least favorite of the 3. In fact, I wouldn't even have said that I did like it. It wasn't until it was added to Smash Bros. That I started coming around to it, and so I've learned to like appreciate it for what it is, but the chibi proportions of this guy, his big ass head, that smug ass smirk, dude, this is perfect. I love him. And then we've got Cutie Fly. I think everything about this is mostly perfect. I love the dangly little string legs with the little ball feet. The fluff back here. I don't know if you can tell just by looking at it. It's so soft. Like, the face came out a little bit crooked. The eyes are perfect. The one thing I'm a little bit confused about is how they did the wings. It's a weird material, and they're very thick. I guess I don't know like what I would have expected or would have preferred. It's just at a distance, which is what it's going to be most of the time on the shelf. This is perfect. I love him. Okay, this one's interesting. This is PK Yaoi the Executor. Now, I think this is the tallest sitting cutie that they've ever made. You can kind of see, compared to my face, it's about as tall. His head is little as hell, like really tiny. And I say this is interesting because like I have another Executor plush that is more like proportional to what an Executor actually is. I definitely prefer that over the sitting cutie version, but given the constraints of like the form factor of any given sitting cutie, they did their best. Ultra Necrozma is an interesting one. I actually have it on top of this lamp here. These lamps are separated into the Ultra Beasts on that side and the Alolan forms on this side. I have Raichu as the Crown Alolan form, and I have Ultra Necrozma as the Crown Ultra Beast. I am baffled that they were able to condense the sort of like ethereal design of Ultra Necrozma into a marketable plushie. It is a little bit scrunkled. It's just a little bit scrunkly. Komala, I'm actually hunting this right now. I'm really hoping to find the shiny later today. I am over odds and haven't phased yet, so here's to hoping, but this is perfect. I have a Komala plush already. I think life size, really soft. And I also have like a Komala like figure that came with a beanbag chair to sleep on. So I have other Komalas to compare this to. And I will say this is not the best Komala merch that they've done. There's like a visible line on the log, which isn't an issue in the other ones. But the actual like koala itself is perfect. You can't really mess that up. It's very simple. I love it. Alright, so Araquanid was funded, Dewpider wasn't, so I'm going to review both. So I'm actually going to do these backwards. So Araquanid, this is Dink from Eagle Blocks. They kind of are limited by the fact that you can't have translucent fabric. The body and the legs of Araquanid are perfect. They're very, very, very spider-like. It sits, it's awesome. The issue comes in with its face, where in the in-game model, it's sort of like recessed into its body, and then there's the bubble around the head, so you can look into the bubble and see the head. The plush, they printed it on the front. And so he's got like this flat face projection of what's supposed to be on the inside, which, I mean, like, I can't fault them for that. How else were they supposed to depict that, you know? However, Dewpider is constrained by the same limitations, and yet, I think it did it better. In fact, it's even like bigger significantly than Araquanid, which is the pre-evolution. I don't think it should be. But the Dewpider came out pretty good, all things considered. Like, it also had to do like the print the face on the front kind of situation. I think it works better for this than it did for its evolution. They're both about as good as you can get, given the limitations. Next up, we got all of the Lycanrocs, which you can see lined up here. Rockruff, I think, is probably the best of the group, because like it's not difficult to make a Rockruff plush. They've done it before. It's a cute dog, big fluffy tail. They nailed it. This is the best of the evolutions, I think. They had like the big hair to work with. Interestingly, it's not my favorite of the group in game, but the plush itself, I mean, again, it's got kind of that issue of like the white coming through, the shaping, the like the smirk on the face, like the shape of the face. They nailed it. I have some, I hesitate to say complaints. These guys look silly, right? I love Dusk Lycanroc, it's my favorite of the group in-game, but their faces are like, they didn't capture the point and aggressiveness of Midnight with these. They look like silly dogs, which isn't bad. These are basically, though, the same plush. Granted, the Pokemon models are also very similar, but they're the same thing. I like the orange one. Orange. It's a good color. Minior is a really interesting and somewhat disappointing case. As you'll know if you're not new here, Minior is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. One of my favorite things about Minior are its multiple core colors, and you'll notice that despite me being a completionist here, I only got one of the core colors. And that's not my fault, it's Pokemon's fault. They only gave us one core color. Granted, they gave us the form of like the shields up and shields down, but the thing is that like it seems that their approach to Sitting Cuties is that like if there are multiple different colors of a Pokemon, a la Florges, Flabebe, they won't do the multiple colors, they'll just do the default. If there are multiple distinct forms, like Furfrou or Vivian, then they will do those, which is why we have 2 Minior forms, but not 7 Minior colors, which I think is a really missed opportunity, honestly. I'm not mad about the one we did get, though. They nailed it. The problem is that, like, it's so good that it makes me more upset that we don't have the other core colors. They did do a really interesting thing with the shield, though, which is that, like, the shield itself is a completely separate layer. You can actually, like, put your finger through its eye sockets, which is a bit morbid, and, like, you can feel around. The core is its own, like, separate thing in there. The shield is actually a separate layer on top. I think that's really interesting. These are very good. I just wish there were more of them. Oh, actually, you know, speaking of Minior, I've had this in my background for a while, which I found on Etsy, a shiny Minior core, and I'm very pleased to see that it is just completely coincidentally, as I got this well before the Gen 7 Sitting Cuties were even announced. It's like the exact same size, so it's awesome. I get to have them sort of side by side without it looking too jarring, especially in my background. And speaking of shiny Minior, I actually recently just found the last shiny Minior core that I need for my Dex quest, so just in the middle of this, here it is. I found it on the bus, so I don't have any audio of like me reacting to it in person, but I really like this one because I named it Black Star 7, which is a book reference, but it's just perfect for this Minior considering that one, it's the purple core like the plasma star it's named after, and it was the 7th shiny Minior that I found and the last one that I needed. Really happy to have this saga of collecting all the cores done with, which marks another big milestone in the Dex progress. Very cool. Kidney Stone. This is Kidney Stone from... I wish I took better notes. This is Kidney Stone. Yeah. That's a Geodude. This is awesome. I love him. He's got such a polite face. Alright, Dartrix. How am I going to remove that without everything falling? No! Decidueye is dead. I love Dartrix. I'm a big fan of middle evolutions in general. I feel like there's not a lot of Dartrix merch, which is one of the reasons I appreciate the Sitting Cutie line a lot. Dartrix is like, of all the owl Pokemon that we have, I think the most owl Pokemon. And the Sitting Cutie captures it pretty well. It's very soft, very squishy, very good to hold. I love him. Oh, Mimikyu is dead. This is interesting. It's another one of those situations where like the limbs go buck wild. A lot of really hard edges. It's a really complicated design to have to encapsulate in a Sitting Cutie. Mine has the little antenna just a little bit not sitting quite right. Given the circumstances, it's pretty good. It's a very solid one. It sits on its own. It's just that like these arms are so loose that you can't really, I guess if you could go like, oh, he's sitting very politely. Yeah, that works. Yeah, no, this is awesome. This is John McCain. I don't know why it's John.
Hi, Gremlin. Just got news that John McCain got a Shundo Tapu Bulu in Pokemon Go.
If you don't know the John McCain lore on the channel, I'm sorry. What's interesting about this guy, there's a couple of like really good points for and a couple like bad things against this Sitting Cutie. He's like, his arms are up and flexing, but not like sewed attached to the body, so you still got some range of movement. A really cool thing is that the horns start from the head and follow up through the little shell thing and come out the top. One continuous piece. The problem I have with it is the shell piece on the top. It's got a lot of that sort of white fabric coming through the printing, and also it's real wrinkled up. It doesn't hold its shape very well. You can see they tried really hard, like underneath, like some really thick seam and like glue situation going on to try to give it some structure, but it came out a bit scrunkly. Chicha is trying so hard to steal this chair from me. This isn't your YouTube channel. It is her throne, though. I love Pikipek. I think it's one of my favorite first stage regional bird designs. I mean, like, it's a bird, sits very politely, massive head. It is basically one-to-one the in-game model, and I think that's awesome. That's one of the things I think Sitting Cuties as a line does best, is it definitely chibifies some of the bigger Pokemon, but when you get smaller like this, you practically get just a regular one-to-one representation of what it looks like in-game. The situation is sort of similar with Trumbeak. I actually, in my notes, I tried to keep as best notes as I could while streaming. I don't know when during the progress of the Dex fundraising that this one was claimed. This was claimed by Angtastic and named Angtastic, so thanks for that. Yeah, that's Trumbeak. I am continuously surprised by how well giant, complicated designs can be captured in Sitting Cutie form. This is hilarious. Like, proportionally, that looks so silly. This is Javik, by the way. This is perfect. This is, I think, the best you could possibly expect of a Sitting Cutie Solgaleo. There's a lot of intricate details on the back, like a lot of Solgaleo's sort of like metal shaping you can see represented as like specific stitch lines and stuff, which is really, really, really cool. And I love the gradients on the sort of main tips. So this is perfect. Next up, we got Poipole, which is a small little goober. It's another one of those like proportional to in-game sort of situations. Really big head, tiny little body, funny little dragon tail. All the details are here. It's just a little alien man with a nice smiley face. And then lastly for this section, we have Delmise, which I have a Delmise down there, but that one isn't actually the Delmise that Y-Rock Arts sponsored. This one from my background is. So this is one of the first ones that I imported from Japan early. I have two Delmises, one for the shelf, one for my background, and I actually brought this Delmise. I brought it with me to Worlds. I had it sort of dangling from my backpack like a keychain, and then Delmise was announced for Unite, and everyone was like, oh my god, Gremlin! I love using this thing as like a wall decoration or a keychain. It's got like perfect gaps to loop stuff around like a string or something. Freaking love Delmise. It was one of the ones that had I not been able to fund the entire Alola Dex, I would have gotten on my own anyway, which is why I have two. Next up is an interesting shiny, Stufful's evolution, Bewear, though I'm not hunting it in a normal way. My options basically boil down to finding a second Stufful and evolving it, or waiting until the post-game to find it in the wild at a 10% chance. But like I've made clear in past episodes of the Dex Quest, this project is uniquely tailored to me. Anyone can do their own Living Dex, but my Living Dex is special. Because I plan on keeping all of my finds on these cartridges, never transferring them up, I can do some less than legit things like shiny lock removals, mostly for legendaries, mythicals, and totems. But interestingly, also, there are a few other random shiny locked Pokemon dotted around the Alola region, and one of them is Bewear. In the Hau'oli City Mall during the day and after completing a few trials, a little side quest is unlocked. The Alola region is full of these fun mini stories, and this one has gotta be one of my favorites. Here's how it plays out.
Hello, hello! Welcome to the Bewear costume show. As I'm sure you know, Bewear may look cute, but they're actually very, very dangerous. So in this show, there will be no real Bewear making an appearance. Please relax and enjoy. Now, without further delay, here are our lovely Bewear.
Wow! They look so real!
Alola! Beware!
Just look at them, ladies and gentlemen. They're more active than usual. Huh? Now who could be in that third Bewear costume?
Are you a helper, Beware? The more Beware, the merrier.
Oh, could it be a real one?
Beware!
It's real!
Everyone, beware the Bewear!
We gotta get out of here! Where? Beware. Where? Beware? Where?
Now, this Bewear is typically shiny lock, but that's stupid, and I have access to lock removal, so I'm going to hunt it. It's a wildly inefficient way to hunt it considering the long cutscene I need to spam A through, but I think it's worth it for such a unique encounter, especially if I want to find Bewear at full odds. My only other option's at 10%. So what I sacrifice in time spent hunting, I gain in a 100% encounter rate. But just to ensure full efficiency, I also decided to hunt Komala on the side. Normally I want all of my shinies to be found purely from my Dex Quest files, but considering that I just sent in Ruby's 3DS to get a capture card installed for her birthday, I figured I'd secretly yoink it and try to find Komala on the main Plush Dex file as a neat little memento of this portion of my Alola journey. And if you're wondering why Komala is part of this plush themed video, well, it's because his log is like a little teddy bear he's holding onto in his sleep. Also this is, without exaggeration, one of the best Pokemon plushes I have ever owned. It's so soft and good. And life-sized, I think? Anyway, let's see what shines first. Oh, yes! Oh, oh, oh! No way! Holy shit! It works! I was so worried! Oh my god, it's almost midnight. I was so worried this didn't work. How is it on Ultra Sun? For context, Ultra Sun found Old Shieldon at 21,194. So Ultra Moon has been incredibly droughting. And then Ultra Sun pulls through again. I recorded the reviewing the plushes today. I'm so happy that it's real. Look at how bright that is. It's a female, which doesn't match the name I'm gonna give it, but that's fine. Look at how bright that is, dude. What a crazy way to find this Pokemon. Okay, I'm gonna use Roto Catch. Oh, that is beautiful. I love the bright orange paws. That's so good. I'm gonna throw just an Ultra Ball. I feel like that's the best for catching it, and also, it matches anyway. I'm so relieved. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I can't believe this is done. I can now go crazy looking for Komala, and then hopefully I can find Mimikyu before the new Pokemon game comes out. I'm really hoping to get this video out before ZA. It is September 28th. We're really in the crunch time right now. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. 11,492. Going that far over odds in a lock removal hunt with this long of a cutscene? I'm so glad it's over. Viewers' data will be added to the Pokédex. Dude, it waves its hand wildly in intimidation and warning. Life is over for anyone who doesn't run away as fast as possible. Well, I didn't run. I actually wanted this Pokemon. Yes, I have a name. This is Rando, named after... I'm shaking right now. Named after Rando the Bear from Boy Jumpers 2, which itself is based off of Rando of TheNovaLeague. Rando has been added to your party. I'm gonna guess adamant nature, but first, the menace of Bewear has passed. I'm going to save. I can't save yet. Pant. Huh? Where did the Bewear go? Did you? Oh, thank you, brave trainer. Thanks to you, nobody was hurt. Oh, I'm so relieved. Now I could cry. Me too. How can I ever show my gratitude? Let me save the game. A max potion. I literally do not care. Let me save. Still, I can't help but wonder what the real Bewear wanted. Maybe it wanted to show us how to properly be a Bewear? I don't care. Save. That is such a relief. That is such a massive relief. Rando is hasty with the Klutz ability, which means it can't use held items. How useful. Hopefully the rest should be pretty quick considering it's not the long cutscene, but I mean, I'm over odds on Komala, so I guess anything could happen. Hi, Rando. Ooh, I love its cry. It's so funny. Have a bean? I love that it holds it. That's so good. You are just like a big pill shape. Oh my goodness. This is such a good shiny. Yeah, I love the orange bits the most. I gotta send this out because there's a lot more yellow in the back. Yeah, let's send this guy out. This is so awesome. It has been way too long. What's crazy too is that I even put this on pause at like 3,600 or something because of Fossil Week. And then Fossil Week went as over odds as it did. And then I jumped back into this thinking like, oh, it's gonna be quick because I went way over odds. That's not how it works, I guess. Regular Abra and Penny Rando. Look at that, dude! I love the orange stripes. That's my favorite part. This is so good. Oh, he just wags his little ears. Puts the paw up to the face like, Really matches the my trainer fit in Ultra Sun as well. Oh wow, what a cool way to hunt it. Not many other people can say they have this specific shiny Bewear. Yeah, on to the next one. This is so cool. I'm so relieved. With another shiny target under our belt, it's time to review more Sitting Cuties. On day 2 of streaming my progress, 11 more donations pushed the goal even further ahead of my catching progress. In this stream, we gamed Toaster Oven the Tapu Koko from Cosmo, Gwen the Grimer and Chekhov the Golem, both from Pokemonica, a Bewear named Steak from Potter, Winter and Risk of Rain 2, the Vulpix and Ninetales from Explodin', both Marshadow forms named Dark Lurker and Wise Guy from Wise Guy, a Toucanon named By-Erd from Widest Way, Trixie the Bruxish from Bruxish's biggest fan, Viux, a donation from Cambo worthy of claiming an entire 3-stage evolutionary line used only to claim a single Wimpod named Beepo, and the stream ended with the aforementioned donation from my mom claiming Gremlin Mom the Turtonator. But before moving immediately to reviewing these entries of the decks, let's check in on how the Komala hunt is doing. You don't want to like rush and edit or anything. Yeah. What the? That's a 10% Shinotic! I went out of my way to SOS this so that I didn't have to target a full odds one? I knew this was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. That is so dumb. Oh my god, that's on the Plush Dex file. It took me 3 days to do the SOS because of how bad the call rate was. That's the first phase too. I can't believe that. 13,859. Hopefully Komala shows up at the 30% chance way faster than that. Well, and then the Bewear before this was at 11,400 something. That's crazy. This is just a completely unneeded. I shouldn't have done the SOS. That's so funny. Oh, yay! A shiny Pokemon after jumping into the call after like 5 minutes. Oh boy, a Dex entry for the Plush Dex. Hooray. I'm so happy. Oh boy, a shiny Pokemon. I'm guessing, I'm pissed off nature. Oh, it's quirked up. The one time I don't guess my nature, and it's holding a tiny mushroom. That's so awesome. That's so cool and good, and everything about this is great, and I'm not mad at all. On to the next one, which I will find in 5 minutes. Whoa! What?! That's another 10%! That's another 10%! And is it Ultra Sun again? My only 2 phases so far were the 10%? I'm so glad. It is the daytime counterpart though. That caught me, I did not notice that. I only heard the sparkle, barely. 2 in 1 day. What? Are you joking? It's about to turn nighttime in this game too. I cannot be mad about this. I can't be mad about this because it's 2 in 1 day and it's a 10% and it's also a new one too. But I am confused about this. Finally a low number phase though. First ball. What? I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. I don't have a name for it or anything. That's so confusing. I'm looking for a 30%, man. Okay, well there's no way I'm getting it today then. But I can't be mad about this. I can't believe that. I'm guessing quirked up. What the hell? I'm getting really nervous So I just walked onto the road and I'm starting to hear the same music that I heard in the Melee Garden, and I am getting horrible flashbacks to Araquanid. I'm really scared. It's Rash, holding a tiny mushroom, just like the Shiinotic was. I can't believe that. Well, into the phase boxes it goes. All right, back at the throne. You know what that means? Chicken. It has very similar problems to Tapu Bulu, where like the outer shell part of it is just really thin, and so it gets a little bit wrinkled up. The body though is perfect. This thing is awesome, if a bit like sharp and frayed. It's hard to get it to sit and pose right, but if you can, it looks great. It's my favorite of the Tapus. I love Tapu Koko. This is awesome. It is so soft and squishable. It's got like so many folds that you can like put coins in, maybe. I don't know. Look at how joyous this thing is. I love Grimer. I'm putting off hunting it for the Alola Dex quest for a while now, just because I want to save some random encounters for later in the project. I am quickly running out of random encounter hunts, so we'll see the shiny of this one eventually, but for now, we've got the Sitting Cutie, and it's very good. Look at this. I love Grimer, dude. This one may surprise you. This, and I'm not exaggerating, is one of the best Sitting Cuties I have ever had the pleasure of being able to squeeze the out of. It is so soft, it's so round, and the separate little like boulder parts, just something about it, holding it in your hand, it's got like this tactile feel to it that is just so one of the biggest surprises of the Dex for me. It's a perfect weapon. Like, I want to throw this at people so bad. If you want a throwable plush, get a golem. You want a little bit of a sense of the chronology of how I'm making this video? I'm currently 11,000 encounters deep for this thing. It's pissing me off, but like, it's gonna be worth it because look at him. Look at, how can you get mad at this dude? How can you stay mad at this face? It's another one of those really like squishable ones. They kind of had to nail this one considering it's based on being a plush, and they did. It's perfect. It's simple, but they did it right. Oh my god, Ninetales is a lot heavier than I remembered. These are both incredibly dense Sitting Cuties because of the tail situation. They hold structure really well, but it does mean that they're like incredibly like solid. You could probably do some damage by whacking somebody on the head with these tails. In fact, I would go so far as to say the tails are heavier than the plush itself. Adorable. This is winter. This is Risk of Rain 2. They look perfect side by side as well. There are a couple cases like with Mudsdale and Mudbray where like the pre-evolution's a little bit bigger or the same size as its evolution. That's like exaggerated with Dewpider and Araquanid, but like obviously this Vulpix is too big in comparison to the Ninetales, but I think this is a good enough comparison to the two anyway. They work well together. Marshadow. Now an interesting thing about Marshadow is that like I have a Marshadow plush. It's appeared on the channel quite a bit. And I will say I prefer that one over these, simply because it stands up like a regular Marshadow. What I do like with these, though, is that we get the Zenith form, which, I mean, okay, I get that we get the Broken Neck Mimikyu. Zenith form, I'm glad that we have it. Where are the other Minior cores? Sorry, I'm gonna be mad about this forever, but let's not have that take away from, like, this is good. I like this a lot. Marshadow video, by the way, still one of my favorites of the Alola Dex, even though it was only like, what, episode 4? 2 cannon. This completes the line. Let's not drop anything. Hey, let's not drop anything. No! Trumbeak is dead. 2 cannon. They captured the angriness of his face just right, and the shape of his beak. They did it. Great colors. None of that issue of like the white coming through, despite the fact that there are like 4, 5 different colors on the beak. Very good. This is a pretty underrated Pokemon. We've got Bruxish, and something really, really cool about the Sitting Cuties line in general is that whenever you get around to a Pokemon that just literally cannot sit, whether it be because it's like an alien or a fish, basically what you just end up getting is a regular plush of a Pokemon that you probably would have otherwise never gotten a plush of. And if we're talking Pokemon that like the Pokemon Company would never make a plush of, if it were not for the Sitting Cuties, do you really think we'd ever get one of these? And I'm so glad that we did, because it can't sit. Effectively what we have here is a 1-to-1 representation of the in-game model of Bruxish. This is just a regular Bruxish plush, and it's perfect. Listen, okay, I know some people have very strong opinions against Bruxish, but me, being an Alola Dex appreciator, I like it, and from my bias point of view, I would like to share for you, Bruxish haters out there, that you have to admit, whether you like Bruxish or not, this, if we're talking strict accuracy, is the perfect Bruxish plush. Bruxish is real. I love Bruxish. I love Bruxish, you guys. If you hate Bruxish, reevaluate why. Why do you hate Bruxish? You got a problem? Is it because it looks weird? Have you ever looked at a fish? Just a thought. Wimpod. This is another one of those situations where, like, it's got antenna bits that are difficult to ensure that they are aligned. I mean, it's going to be different for every plush. But besides the antenna, everything else about this guy, the goofy little face, I love the stubby little legs underneath, the feel of it all, the look of it from above, which I think is the most important. This looks like I'm showing off a fish I just caught. Yeah, this is a Wimpod plush. I don't know that we've had a Wimpod plush before. I'm glad that we have it now, though, because, again, sort of the same situation as Bruxish. This can't sit, so it effectively is just a Wimpod plush, and that's awesome. Turtonator. Now, I'm not going to move the Turtonator from the shelf there, because that actually isn't the one that my mom got for me. That is an extra one. Much like was the case with Delmai's, Turtonator is one of those ones that I would have gotten anyway if I wasn't able to fund the Dex, and so I got two of them, one for the shelf and one for me to have in just other context outside of being on the shelf. And this one actually, I think, came out better than the one I ended up getting on the shelf. It had sort of a similar situation where some of the white fabric was showing through, and the second one that I got had it much worse, and a lot of the spikes were pointed in weird, bad directions. Some of the plushes have situations like that where a little bit of, like, their extremities are going to be bent in certain ways. Like the other Turtonator I have, it was, like, in a permanent waving pose, which I think is kind of funny, but everything else about it was not ideal. This one, though, I love. Like, being able to hold it by the spikes like this, it's a good feeling. It looks like Turtonator. I don't think that we would ever get Turtonator plushes in any other context besides this. It can kind of stand if you want it to. I just love Turtonator. In fact, you know, I got this imported from Japan early, and if you've been watching the series for a while now, you'll know that I had this in my background when I actually did find the shiny Turtonator, and so I'm so glad to have had this with me when the shiny Turtonator was found, and also I'm happy that this is the one that my mom claimed. This is Gremlin Mob. Thanks. Very cool. I love Turtonator, you guys. I love Turtonator so much. The third day of streaming the Plush Dex resulted in the fewest donations. Things were slowing down as I expected, which was fine by me as it allowed me to make more progress in game and actually catch up for once, as chat had sped far ahead of me. Pokemonica donated yet again, laying a claim to 2 of the middle stage evolution starters, naming them Skirt and Sweatpants, and rounding it out with claiming a Decidueye named Hoodie. Latias fan claimed a Lunala named Galileo, and the questionable one named School Form Wishy-Washy Legion and a Palossand Camelot. The next day's stream brought another batch of plushes added to the Dex though, with Ryusa the Ganondale from Shiriho, Ben Grimm the Graveler from Peerless Echo, the Bounce Sweet line from Nexus the Furry King named Tiny Creature, Teehee, and Starfruit, and a Pyukumuku named Burger Man from Chiriho. At this point in the quest, I was starting to realize that I wasn't built for streaming any task that required focus. The thing with shiny hunting is that the streams are basically just chatting streams, but with a rare chance of screaming. So I don't really need to pay too much attention to the games, but something about having to focus on the game and be entertaining at the same time and keep track of who claimed what, it fried my brain, and I took a decent break between streams to get back to shiny hunting. And yet, even though the rules of this quest were that I'd be accepting donations only during Plush Dex streams, a few generous viewers were nice enough to send their contribution off stream, which gained us both Ultra Women the Pheromosa from Legend Link and Miss L the Magirna from the Miss L. But yet again, before we move on to reviewing these new donations, surely I found Komala by now, right? What? That's the first encounter of the, I just opened up the game. Ultra Moon has finally found something. And it's awesome. Okay, I have to change my mindset here. I've been recording for a minute. I am upset with how often I am phasing because specifically I am in like crunch time mode. That being said, I was kind of like annoyed or too surprised with the last Parasect, but besides Shiinotic, which was hilarious considering the SOS, Parasect and Ariados were like the things I wanted to phase on. I think my luck is finally turning around, but I mean, these encounters are really fast, so maybe I can get up to a number like this again today. Dude, I'm just looking for a 30%. All three of the games have found something now. I'm on crunch time here, you guys. That's such a good shiny, though. I can't... Wow, I just started the game up. Just threw on a Roto encounter. That's crazy. This is a 20%, so not nearly as crazy. I am still getting Arachnid flashbacks, though. New game comes out in, like... My heart hurts. New game comes out in, like, 14 days. My luck needs to be crazy. My luck needs to be crazy, please. I found 2 shinies yesterday. Can I do that again? Oh my god, that, like, jump scared me. That's such a good shiny. I am... getting really worried. Okay, maybe my long phases are over. And it's a Dex entry too, that's awesome. With Spinnerack as well. How cool is that? Oh, wow. I'm not gonna bother sending it out. This video is already way too long with all the plush review stuff, so I'll see you with the next one. What? There's another shiny Ariados!
What?
978 in the same game.
What the
Same
heck?
game, same day. That's crazy. It's the
What's
day of
going
Spider.
on?
It's Spider Thursday.
Same day, same shocked gram.
I'm getting like actual Arachnid flashbacks. Melee Garden is just around the corner. I'm so scared.
I think we have a perfect emote for this.
No. Oh, what? I just want Komala. What's going on, man? What?
Pretty wacky. Like thwacky.
This is a blessed call.
I'm not
Wacky
allowed to get
Thursday.
Komala, I don't think. I just realized I didn't nature guess the last one. We got double nature guesses.
Mild and mild.
Dude,
I'm gonna
sassy
get clam and
spiders.
clam.
Clam and clam. Sassy spiders, mild. I'm going quirked up.
I'm
It's
guessing
Lax. Oh, Lax.
Mild
Oh, and
Morales.
mild.
Oh, Mild Morales.
Oh, let's go.
Go.
Shouts out- shouts out
Mild
to Blue and
Morales.
Matt.
Yeah, Lax and mild. Crazy. Okay. What? Oh, that's so dumb. On to the next one. Hooray. Can I get 3 today? Find out.
3
my
spiders.
God.
Let's go.
No.
You can do a triple battle with them.
No, not 3 spiders.
Do that all the time.
Classic.
What, the shiny Trumbeak?
What?
What is going on?
That's your third today, right?
Yeah.
What the heck?
I just won 30%
Share with the class.
Komala.
It's enough,
So true.
it's enough Trumby.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, at least I have the whole line completed, but it was all picky peck, so this is the first wild Trumbeak I'm seeing. So that's kind of cool. It's a good shiny, but I'm so upset.
Just freaked up. Bro's suffering from success.
Where's my
For
Komala?
real.
What's going on here?
Drum in my beak right now.
I need
Yeah?
I need this koala to shine because I want my 3DS back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm guessing quirked up. This is
I'm
upsetting.
guessing mild.
Awesome.
Sassy.
I'm guessing
Party.
lonely.
Jolly.
Bashful
Bashful
Trumbeak.
beak.
Bashful Beak. Okay. On to the next one. Hooray. How fun. Can I get 4 today? That would be crazy.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I believe.
Today's the day. Today's the day.
You will.
This is Skirt the Brion. This is a perfect Brion. Again, one of those situations where, like, in what other context are we gonna get a Brion plush? Ruby really likes this one. I think Brion is a pretty underrated aspect of this evolutionary line. I like it a lot, especially its in-game animations and its cry and stuff, and this plush is a perfect representation of that. Torracat, less so. It is sitting, because it's a sitting cutie, and so it isn't just a regular Torracat plush. It's also got more, like, chibi-fied proportions compared to, like, something like Brion, but I do like that for this. It's got a very smug face. And then we have this, which is one of my favorites, not least because Decidueye is one of my favorite starters, but because I feel like for a long time, they've had some difficulty depicting this Pokemon in plush form. And I think the Sitting Cutie finally fixed a lot of issues I had with previous Decidueye plushes. One of the main ones being that they usually display it with its wings out. This is one of the few that have it like down like it is in its idle pose. And so it looks a bit more natural than some of the wing out plushes do. Also, a lot of the time, the hoodie part covered most of its face in plushes. This is even an issue with Hisuian Decidueye that doesn't have a hoodie. But this one, the face is perfectly clear, which I love. The little feather is nice. And also, I mean, it's sitting, but it can stand. I mean, it won't rest standing, but like, you can make it look like a regular Decidueye by having it stand, which I think is really awesome. This is my favorite starter. I mean, Hisuian Decidueye I prefer, but like Decidueye as a Pokemon, my favorite starter, and this is, I think, in the years that it has existed as a Pokemon, this is the best plush representation of this Pokemon that we've had to date, and I'm really excited for the eventual Hisuian Sitting Cutie Decidueye. Very good stuff. Lunala, yeah, so this one can't sit. The only way that this works is by having it sort of propped up. Oh god, my computer fell. Speaking of having things propped up. Hey, it's me, Gremlin from TheNovaLeague. I hope this is not too close up and up personal for you. Have you liked and subscribed yet? Please? Anyway, yeah, so this can't sit at all. So it's just like a regular Lunala plush. I think they did a pretty good job. I like the gradient. It has a few of like the white shining through problems. And also, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but just like the shape of its head. I think somebody hit it with a hammer, maybe. But from like a distance, that's such a backhanded compliment. From a distance, it looks great. And so it does its purpose on the shelf just fine. All right, so Wishy-Washy is an interesting case. I'm actually going slightly out of order for this one because the schooling form was funded before the solo form. So I'm jumping ahead in the timeline here. We're starting with the solo form, which was funded by Duckling and named Felix. This, much like Bruxish, because it's a fish, it doesn't need to sit. This is just a perfect one-to-one representation of what Wishy-Washy looks like in-game. So this is just like a solid and good Wishy-Washy plush. I don't have a lot to say about it, but I do have a lot to say about schooling form Wishy-Washy, which unfortunately I think is the first case in the Alola Dex so far of a Sitting Cutie that I genuinely just do not like. Which is a huge disappointment because I love the schooling form Wishy-Washy in-game. But the plush, just like, granted, they kind of like had a rough situation to work with. I think the teeth or mouth area is just bad. This looks stupid. It does not, it's not even close to what it looks like in-game. The way the flippers are just like this sort of like cardboard felt situation with hard cut edges. The fin is fine. I mean, like the body, I like the printing on the body. I wish like, you know, it's a promising start, but these hard edges and just like this, that's not what its face looks like. It ruins it for me. And then the nail in the coffin is the fact that the schooling form Wishy-Washy, the big Wishy-Washy, bigger than Kyogre, by the way, a collection of multiple solo Wishy-Washys, the beast, the behemoth, is smaller than the solo form. What? And like, listen, you may say, like, oh, well, they're limited by the size that a Sitting Cutie can be. I agree. However, simple solution. This is such a simple design, this could be smaller. In fact, it might benefit from being smaller to look more like a life-size Wishy-Washy, and this can definitely be bigger because of a Sitting Cutie later down the line that I'll show that, like, just proves they could have made this bigger. I don't know how they messed up this Wishy-Washy so bad. There's bound to be stinkers, unfortunately, and that's the first one. And, you know, I didn't plan this because I'm reviewing them in order of when they were funded. But it just so happens that the next one I'm gonna review, I also hate. So, I feel like I don't need to say anything. I'm sorry. Okay, listen. Okay, but like, dude, I don't need to say anything, but I will, because most of this is good. It's the mouth that's bad. And you may be thinking like, well, what could they have possibly done to make this better? And the most frustrating thing is that its evolution is perfect and answers that question. This is good. This is really good. And you'll notice the way they did the mouth is by printing it on. Like a normal person, choices were made with this plush, and all of them were wrong. It's almost like the people in charge of designing this one were not in contact with the people in charge of designing this one. This one was funded and claimed. This is Camelot. This one was not. So it's unnamed and unloved, and nobody likes it. I'm sorry. I like the Pokemon in game, but this is just a bad representation of it. Unfortunate to have back-to-back cases of that. At least we got a good one to come after that. This is Naganadel, and it is kind of huge, actually. Which, more to my point about wishy-washy, but let's not dwell on that. I really like the texture of the material they used on the stinger. It is like hard, but not painful like some of the felt cut edges are. It's sort of the same material they used for the compound eyes of Lurantis. Lots of good detail packed in on this. Not really chibi-fied, it can't really sit. And so they sort of just resorted to making a good Naganadel plush with like giving up the idea of it sitting at all, which I think was the right move. This is a good Naganadel plush. It hardly even feels like a sitting cutie, especially considering its size. It is huge. Oh god, everything fell. Oh no, Stakataka is dead. Graveler, it's not nearly as soft as Golem. He's a little bit scrunkly in the face, but that's to be expected. It's literally a Graveler. He's got little leggies he can stand on, which is pretty cool. Definitely not as squishable or soft as Graveler, but that does make it more throwable and a more deadly weapon. So highly recommend if you want to hit somebody over the head with a rock without using an actual rock. All right, next up we got the Bounce Sweet line. Tiny Creature, Teehee, and Starfruit from Nexus. These are all perfect. This is, again, another situation where the fact that it doesn't sit means you can just make a good one-to-one Bounce Sweet. It's also even got the tiny little legs under there, which is really fun. Very good. Steenie, very similar. Very solid here. This is very weapon-like. Tiny, pathetic little arms. There's not even any stuffing in here. It's just fabric. Got the hair shape perfect. This is just very good. Also teensy little legs, so like it can technically stand, but it's definitely gonna sit. And then Zarina, more of the same. Perfect hair. They nailed the crown. Arms are the same sort of situation with just fabric, but they are attached at the hip, so they don't really have a lot of free range of movement. Similar situation with the legs. It can stand, it can sit. This is very good. Pyukumuku, Burger Man. This is Burger Man. This is just a solid, good Pyukumuku plush. They've actually surprisingly made quite a few Pyukumuku plushes. Like, at Worlds, AJ found like a keychain that was very similar to this Pyukumuku and it was very good. There were a few bigger ones there too. So like, honestly, of all the obscure Gen 7 Pokemon, this one, I mean, like the Sitting Cutie is nothing special compared to previous Pyukumuku plushes. I don't know, I haven't had any other ones though before, so I don't know necessarily that they've done the little like white puff at the back any differently, but it's like a little like cotton ball thing situation going on there, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, just, it's good. It's Pyukumuku. If you have a Pyukumuku plush, more of the same, which is just to say good. If you're familiar at all with the way the Ultra Beasts look in game, Pheromosa has a sort of interesting situation where like the hair is like translucent, and I was talking before about how you can't really have translucent plush pieces with like Dewpider and Araquanid, and yet it's a weird way to hold it. You can see how long the antennae are. You'll notice that the way they did the semi-transparent, translucent hair stuff is just by using like this mesh material, which is a really cool choice, and it works really well. And they do a very similar thing with the antenna, where it's like I don't know how to describe it, but the material is very like porous, Very interesting. And also, like, a lot of the gold pieces of Pheromosa are, like, reflective, and, like, you can tell, it's got some sort of, like, regality to it, you know? Someone, and I'm not joking, I have my window open for lighting reasons, and there's a sidewalk directly in front of my window. A guy just walked past and glanced inside, and we made direct eye contact for about a second while I was doing this. And so I just have to live with that now. Anyway, Ultra Women. Very good. It fell and it's dead. Alright, and then we have Miss L the Magearna from the Miss L. Also, fun fact about Magearna, I'll go more in depth about this when we get around to it in the Dex Quest, but honorary 5th member of the TheNovaLeague, Lamvax, who does all like the music remixes and the book trailer music. This is, I think, one of, if not his top favorite Pokemon. Very interesting. I didn't know about him until very recently. The Sitting Cutie is like mostly good. I think the only problem with it is the sort of like the Pokeball skirt thing. Mine is like pushed up a bit, and it's a sort of similar situation to the Tapu's where it can't really hold its shape all too well. But like everything else, like the printing and some of the materials used for like reflectivity and stuff like that, everything else is perfect. No original color Magearna, which like, I guess that's just a color change like the Minior cores, but it has a special name, so I would assume that that is a separate form entirely. I wonder if we will ever see original color Magearna as a Sitting Cutie. That would be interesting to see later down the line, but as of right now, not an option. And, you know, I want to get into this when I get around to talking about Magearna in the Dex Quest, but, like, it's one of those Alolan Pokemon that definitely feels like a holdover from X and Y. Like, if there were a Pokemon Z, I feel like Magearna probably would have been part of it. And much to that same effect, I was surprised to see that 10% and 100% Zygarde were included with the Kalos line of Sitting Cuties, and so when those came out, I got them ahead of the Gen 7 Sitting Cuties being announced. Because I firmly believe, I mean, you can argue with the wall, even if you don't consider these to be Alolan Pokemon, which I will grant. These are not Alolan Pokemon, they're definitely Colosian. I will not grant that they are Gen 6 Pokemon. They are firmly Generation 7. They are new forms of a Gen 6 Pokemon, but as of right now, until ZA comes out, they're only accessible in Alola. And so for that reason, I got 100% and 10% for the Alola Plush Dex, despite the fact that they were actually part of the Gen 6 line. Just for my own completionist sake, and they're perfect. 100%, again, is another one of those cases of an incredibly complex character design being perfectly represented in a chibi Sitting Cutie form. 10% is just a good dog. And with that segment of plushes done, let's check in on the Komala hunt again. Hopefully I don't have to phase too many more times. Oh! Yes! 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 Whoa! It's on the plush file! Oh my god, it's on the plush file! Oh, no way! Oh, yes! Oh, it's on the plush file! Oh my god! Oh! Oh, that looks awesome! Oh, I'm so happy that it's on the plush file! I'm so incredibly happy that it's from the Plush Dex file! Oh, wow! Oh, my heart is beating like crazy! This is such a simple shiny. You're probably wondering, hold on. I want to use this on my team. My progress in Ultra Moon has been held back because I'm looking for this. I gotta calm myself down. Oh my god, I have been, to be real with you, incredibly jealous of Randy on the TheNovaLeague. In 2021, he decided to hunt this on a whim and found it in like 400 something encounters the first day he started hunting it. First phase. It's just like the exact opposite of that situation. I'm so glad this isn't over odds. I love this shiny and I can't explain to you why. Oh, I'm shaking, I'm shaking, I'm shaking, I'm shaking. I'm so happy it's on the plush file. That is awesome. Oh, that looks so good. The log is so bright. I love this shiny. I understand why people don't like it though. I really do. It just really works for me. I want to get it in a Moonball though. I've had it in my background with a Moonball this whole time. 1, 2, 3. Oh! Yes! Oh! Okay. This is... I'm shaking so much. I think this is Dreamscape. Let me save the game and then double check my document that is the name I have planned. I have all the names planned ahead of time, by the way. Save. Okay, there we go. Yes, Dreamscape is the name I had planned. I got pretty much everything I wanted from this route too. That wasn't too bad at all. I hope I don't go over odds for Mimikyu, because barring a fail, there's no way I can phase on that hunt. So I can actually finish this video on time, hypothetically. And Ruby gets to have her 3DS back. This is huge. I'm gonna guess Quirked Up. I'm so glad I got it in a Moonball. It is Relaxed. This will be a team member on my Ultra Moon. Let's send this out. The fact that this is actually from the Plush Dex file as well, I am through the roof. Like, obviously, I would have been okay with finding it in any of the games, but the reason I felt justified in adding the Plush Dex file as like a third option is because I would love a shiny target memento from this file, and we get to see the Dex entry now. Look at that. I love this Pokemon. Super underrated in my opinion. I can't wait to use it on this playthrough. It's named Dreamscape after a place from Void Jumpers, because, you know, it's always asleep. And also the thing that takes you to the Dreamscape is like a skull-like mask that is white and wood. Just like the... You get it. But yeah, I didn't explain it in the voiceover portion of this video, but yeah, no, genuinely, I've been thinking about finding a full odds shiny Komala in Ultra Sun and Moon since Randy found his in 2021. I have been so jealous of that find. It's been living in my mind constantly, and it even got to a point where if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you'll know. There it is. You will know that, oh my god, that smile! I don't know that I've ever seen that before. I've actually never used one of these in Ultra Sun and Moon. I'm so excited to have it. If you've been watching for a while, you'll know that I even stole Randy's shiny Komala. Like, that exact one. I love this Pokemon. He transferred it up to Scarlet and Violet, and I used it in my Scarlet Buddy run as one of, like, the temporary Pokemon for the Team Star bases. And it actually took me a few months for me to give it back to him. But I have my own now. We even tried to shiny race for this. I think AJ was the one that eventually got it, and so he won. So it's been in the back of my mind for like years, and I finally have one. Look at the way it moves its ear. Oh my god. Eat the bean. Love the ear wiggles. This is awesome. I love this Pokemon so much. I'm so excited to use this. Let's send it out. Regular Komala, perfect, and shiny Dreamscape. What a Pokemon. Oh, wow. Such an interesting little guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about the shiny. It's like, it's not a shiny that like is to everybody's taste. Like, it doesn't change a lot. But the thing that I like about it is that the thing that it does change makes me prefer this over its standard. And that's what's important to me in a shiny. It really stands out. I love it a lot. I love the little animation of twisting around the log. That did a lot too. I'm gonna EV train this guy probably tonight. But yeah, no, it's time to move on to the next thing. So I will see you with the next one. Hopefully it's quick. Let's see. I'm so excited. Now, when it comes to streaming my Dex completion and doing the plush fundraiser, to tell you the truth, things slowed down significantly, but not because of a lack of donations. This slowdown was on me. The Alola Sitting Cutie is released in Japan, and using the funds I had gathered so far, I decided to get ahead of scalpers and the inevitable jank of the Pokemon Center website by importing as many of the Sitting Cuties as I could before they released internationally. I also started focusing hard on the shiny hunt that was going on at that time for lock removal totems and Turtonator, and all of this was happening in the lead up to Ruby and I moving out of our first apartment and into a slightly bigger apartment in the same complex. Buying the initial batch, editing the big Turtonator video, moving out, and the start of Safari Week completely threw off my rhythm, and the Plush Dex streams took a huge backseat. A brief stream in June when the plushes released in Japan netted our Plush Dex the Grubbin line from Jiriho named Atomizer, Transit, and Beep Beep, as well as Beefinator the Buzzwole from Exploded, Mouse and Rat the Sandshrew and Sandslash from Pokerage, Gluttony the Guzzlord from the Questionable One, and Nebby the Cosmog from Mighty Bros. And more cheaters arrived when I was streaming Safari Week, as both Skyfish Jack and Atomic Frog donated to the cause without claiming any plushes. Frog specifically sending $100, pushing the progress significantly closer to the goal without claiming anything, which is nuts. Thank you so much, genuinely. And much later, as I kept procrastinating the plush streams after the chaos of moving in, this happened. Wait, hold on. Xatu, if I'm understanding this correctly, 87%? What happened? Wait, what? Hold on. What did I miss? Wait, hold on. Why can't I see the most recent?
Yeah, 87% of $2,000 on goal. And
Where's the most recent?
Frog,
Yeah, it says that
Shot,
Frog is the most recent, but I'm not.
Nexus gave you a kidney stone.
You guys actively hate me because I still need to complete that dex and it's supposed to be a race and like there's no way I'm winning. Hold on. What did you do? Because it's not showing. Xatu, did you break it? Oh my god, Xatu! Xatu! I forgot you were doing this and I wanted to do this like last week, but I forgot because I was tired or busy, so haha, get Shrek'd or something? Okay, so here's the thing, Xatu. I cannot emphasize how much I appreciate this, but also, I think you just claimed, like, quite possibly, hold on, you now have the right to claim 11 full evolutionary lines.
Oh my God.
Guys,
Wait,
Zany Xatu just donated $500.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Xatu!
Holy shit.
You're not gonna claim anything?
Dude, you gotta make out with him, though.
Hold on, I need to check something. Pokemon Center. Okay, the Xatu Sitting Cutie is in stock. I'm adding that, I'm getting that right now. So, listen, you've claimed Xatu. It's not part of Gen 7, but I'm getting a Xatu Sitting Cutie right now on your behalf. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate that. And also, if it weren't so generous, I'd be actually mad because I'm not doing that quest right now. We're doing a different stream. That's cheating, Xatu. Yeah, so unlike the Zygardes, this is not justifiable as a Gen 7 Pokemon, but Xatu requested that I get one in honor of his insanely massive contribution toward the Dex, and so I did. This is Zany Xatu, a representation of the #1 donor of the Dex, who took out a massive chunk of what was needed to make this all possible. So I'm gonna take this time to just reiterate again, thank you so much, Xatu. We have 2 Sitting Cutie Natus in the house already because Ruby's favorite Pokemon is Natu. So it's nice to complete that line, and also nice to have just a constant reminder of one of our most prominent community members. I mean, we've got like a few mods that have been around for a while. EgoBlocks has donated, and he's one of them as well. But Xatu, truly goated, has been running the monthly Shiny Alert Challenge in our Discord for a while now. If you're interested in that, join our Discord, by the way. Just genuinely, like, I'm gonna get to it later in the video about like how much this means to me and how much I appreciate all this. But just as like an aside for Xatu specifically, I don't think that, you know, the Discord would be the way that it is without your contributions. I don't think the community would be the way that it is without your contributions. So just genuinely, thank you so much personally to Zany Xatu. You're truly goated, for real. Okay, next up we got the entire Grubbin line, which, hold on. It's kind of like load-bearing for Incineroar. Okay, surprisingly, that did not hurt Incineroar. We've got, what are their names? Atomizer, Transit, and Beat Beat. This is a perfect Grubbin. Much is the case with most Sitting Cuties. They don't actually sit. This is just a Grubbin plush, and that's great. Reflective materials on the little, like, yellow spots, which is awesome. Although it does have some of that issue of color leaking through, but that's kind of like inevitable with some of these. Lots of beans on the inside, so it's very, very weighty. Conversely, Charjabug, very few beans, very squishable, very good. They have the reflective material in the eyes, which is really cool. None of that issue of the white leaking through. It is just a rectangular prism, but it's perfect because of that. Vikavolt, I have seen some different printing issues with, like luck of the draw, depending on what Vikavolt you get, like how yours was made, can determine how scrunkled up it is. I think I got pretty lucky. This is a pretty good representation of Vikavolt. The little mandibles are a little off-center, but I've seen it much worse for other people. The wings situation, just like a flat piece of like hardened felt or something. I guess I don't really know how else they would have done that. I kind of would have liked to see maybe no wings, like the shell closed or something. I don't know. It's good though. We got Beefinator, the Buzzwole. This is a dense Sitting Cutie. It's got a similar situation with the wings to Vikavolt, but everything else about it, this is, I hesitate to call it a plush. It can almost stand on my hand. Like, it's got a threatening aura. There are so many aspects of this design that are printed on, It's got like so much printed on detail. There's nothing about this that is squishy or plush-like. If you hit somebody over the head with this, it could kill them. His antennas are a little out of whack though, like most Pokemon with antennas it seems. For the longest time I've had both the Cantonian Sandslash and Sandshrew in my background on the shelf. I think the Sandshrew is very comparable to that one. They're almost identical, which is to say they're perfect. Sandslash, mine has its arm like constantly bent back a little bit. The face is really nice, very good. Front facing wise, this is great. The back spikes though, not my favorite. Cantonian does it a lot better, and I know the spikes are different with Alolan, but I think they're bigger with Alolan, and for whatever reason, there's like fewer, and they're smaller. So I think it's honestly, unfortunately, a little bit of a miss compared to the previous Sandslash that we have seen. I think I'm just a little bit more harsh on the ones that I like the most in-game, because if they stray at all from the perfection that they have in the game, it's slightly upsetting. Alright, this seems to be a trend with the Ultra Beasts where they are somehow pulling off the most complex, ginormous things I've ever seen and doing it perfectly. And not to harp on how much I don't like school form Wishy-Washy, but if we're talking like an upper size limit to a Sitting Cutie, shut the hell up. What is this? Guzzlord? Dude, okay, it's gonna be difficult to see, but they have like deep in the mouth, they have like the reflective, like closing chomp panels on the inside, way back in there. There's actual depth to this, layers of teeth, the arms coming out. It's got like the ridges on the bottom. It's got the little head on the top. So many different spikes, extra little grabby hands up here, that giant tail on the back. Hefty Pokemon. Lots of plush on the inside here. It is baffling to me that this exists. I wonder how much of the budget for the Gen 7 Sitting Cuties went into something like this, and like Buzzwole, and we'll see later, Duskmane Necrozma. The further that the Sitting Cuties line goes from like Gen 6 onward as we enter the 3D era of Pokemon games, the more challenging some of these are to translate into plush form. Their track record is hit or miss with like Wishy-Washy, but this is perfect. Yeah, that one's just genuinely impressive. All right, and then we got a couple here. One that was funded and name claimed, and one that wasn't. We've got Nebby the Cosmog and Cosmoem. Now, something that's interesting about these is they're very similar, but I think one benefits more from the thing that they have in common than the other. That thing is that they are very dense, very weapon-like, not very squishy. Now, I don't think that works for Cosmog. Personally, I think Cosmog should have been more like Alolan Golem in that it is squishy, but like this is a solid rock almost. And I think like because of that, the little poof balls end up being kind of squared off, and they don't feel like poof balls. Like the color gradient in the face is really nice, and from a distance this is definitely Cosmog, but as far as like holdability, this feels more like a weapon than something I'd like to squish, which for Cosmog I don't think works. It does for Cosmoem though. This is, I want to throw this. This is a recurring theme I'm noticing of how many of these I want to throw people's heads. I want to throw this at people's heads. It's also like perfect to hold. You can kind of like slot your fingers in between the little like ridges. Again, they nailed the color gradient and everything. It's got a lot of the same plus sides that Cosmog had, but all of the downsides that Cosmog had, I think are benefits for Cosmoem. And I really like how this one turned out. Another underrated Pokemon, and also I think this might be life-size. Cosmoem is really small, so that's cool. Next up is one final shiny, and it's another lock removal, Mimikyu. Specifically, Totem Mimikyu. Normally, Mimikyu's encountered at a 5% chance in the abandoned Mega Mart, but I don't want to deal with a 5% encounter. Not right now, anyway. And while I could SOS for Mimikyu, I think instead it would be super awesome to take advantage of lock removal and find a big little guy. And if you're wondering, why am I including Mimikyu in this video about plush Pokemon? I mean, sure, it kinda gives off haunted ragdoll vibes, but it's most definitely a costume, not a plush doll. Well, besides the haunted plushes in its trial. But there's actually a way more convoluted and meta reason for this. And in order to explain, I need to touch on what Mimikyu means to me personally, like I do with a lot of the Dex entries. But this time around, it's actually the opposite of the usual story. I don't really care about this Pokemon. It doesn't mean anything to me personally. Now, before you kill me, I do like it. I understand its appeal, but it never stood out to me as one of Alola's best. And yet, it seems to have taken on a life of its own, climbing to much higher popularity than any of the other Alola Pokemon. But to me, it never really clicked the same as the rest of the decks. Everything else has such a cohesive island theme, and Mimikyu just sort of doesn't. And I think I finally figured out why. In the context of the rest of the Alola decks, filled with Hawaiian, Australian, and Indonesian-inspired Pokemon, Mimikyu stands out as distinctly not fitting into the rest of the theme. And that's because Mimikyu wasn't introduced in the Alola games because of its island roots or anything, but purely because Sun and Moon were the 20th anniversary titles for Pokemon. This is a meta commentary Pokemon. It's Game Freak acknowledging the popularity of Pikachu in-universe, of canonizing the popularity of Pokemon over its first 20 years within the context of the game itself. Mimikyu is jealous of Pikachu, attempting to mimic its cuteness to attract the attention of trainers, and in real life, that clearly worked. Everyone loves this guy. But what's funny is that this is a Pokemon that only exists both in-universe and in the development of the games because Pikachu is a recognizable icon outside of the games. And so, in a way, is this not the most emblematic Pokemon of Pokemon as a franchise? Of the merchandising, of the capitalist titan that the franchise has become? Of course I'm gonna hunt it in the video where I spend $2,000 on Pokemon merch. This is a Pokemon jealous of the attention another Pokemon has received because of its merchandising, iconography, its cultural relevance, and lucky for it, I bought 2 Mimikyu plushes. You're welcome. But hey, just saying, Mimikyu, you have so much merch. I know you feel bad for yourself, but it could be worse. You could be Bruxish. Yes! Oh! Oh! That looks insane! I thought the difference was gonna be subtle. Oh my god! It's done. Oh! I'm so relieved. I want to like pop off, but I'm more just like looking at that. Whoa! That looks so cool! Dude, what? Oh my god! Oh! This is perfect! This is perfect! Like, the latest I could possibly have gotten this and felt okay about it was tomorrow. ZA comes out next week. I can spend all day tomorrow working on the video. That looks so... I don't know how I've never found this in Gen 7 before. I have a name for this. Let me name it really quick. I'm glad it's in Ultra Moon. I feel like Ultra Moon's been behind on shinies lately. So this is Mickey Mice. I'll explain. Give me a second. Save. Oh, yes! Oh, I'm so... Wow, I thought that felt like a weird shiny reaction. I've been so stressed about this lately because of feeling like I'm on a deadline. I feel like that's a weird reaction. I'm just like, wow, okay. Is that real? That actually happened? I'm guessing quirky. That actually happened, right? Oh my god, it's huge. It's sassy. Okay, so I named it Mickey Mice. This is a Void Jumpers 2 reference. There's a cage full of Mickey Mice. I feel like I'm realizing that doesn't really explain it. Steamboat Willie entered the public domain in the year that Void Jumpers 2 came out. There's a bunch of like pirates from across the multiverse, and they collect stuff from different places. And there's a small cage full of a bunch of Steamboat Willie Mickey Mice that are mouse-sized, and they're all in black and white, which is why this is Mickey Mice. Its face is like pretty one-to-one with the character Ray from Thrones of Time, but there's a different Pokemon I want to name that. I gotta send this out because this is a totem. This is gonna be huge. But instead of sending it out in the nearest grass, actually, I feel like I'm way too calm about this for how stressed out I've been. I was worried that this was gonna take so long that I wouldn't be able to put this video out until after ZA came out. But now that I found it, I feel like less of a sense of excitement and more of like, I think peace. I think I'm at peace. Finally, all is right with the world. Everything in this video felt like a weird timing situation. Hopefully send this out against regular Mimikyu, although it's only a 5% encounter. What do we got? Shuppet and Shiny Totem Mimikyu. Dude. That is such a good shiny. I don't know what I was expecting in my mind. I feel like it's gotten worse. Because the only shiny Mimikyu I have, I found in Scarlet and Violet. This is like so noticeable. And insanely huge. I gotta get a size comparison. We gotta find a regular Mimikyu here. There it is. Okay, we got a regular little itty bitty Mimikyu. And shiny, I almost said alpha, Mickey Mice. Totem Mickey Mice. Look at that difference. That, you know, of the totem size differences, that one might almost be as drastic as Raticate. I feel like some of the other size differences were like definitely noticeable, but not like crazy. This is crazy. And you can also see the shiny difference too. That's so cool. This is perfect. And also, because a new game is coming out, this will probably be the last shiny in the Alola Dex quest for quite a while. Great place to put this on pause. The first Alola Dex video came out also in October a year ago. Great stopping point. Wow, also great thing to find in October. Complete coincidence. Hello, Mickey Mice. Okay, I was looking at like the little cheek scribbles the entire shiny hunt, and so I'm now accustomed to the fake face being real. I have to adjust my focus. This is the real face. And of course it's a totem, so it eats it in one bite. This is so funny. Do the eyes not like react and do expressions? I guess not, they're just cutouts, right? You don't do a high five with your shadow hand, do you? That would be cool. Doesn't seem like it, no. Missed opportunity. Oh, it does! That's so cool. I wasn't planning on using this on my team. I think after all we've been through, and this, genuinely, when Comfey high-fived, that's what convinced me to include it on my team. This, I think this does it. Alright, Mickey Mice, you've convinced me. I think you're gonna be on the team for a bit. Okay, wow. Well, this video is long enough, so, and that was the last shiny of the video. I hope you like the weird structure of this video. I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved. I can spend all day editing it tomorrow, but you don't care about that because you're literally watching the thing I already edited, so let's get back to it then, how about? Finally, the Sitting Cuties releasing outside of Japan was the push I needed to remind me to get back to streaming the Plush Dex, and the day I returned after a long hiatus, only 20 minutes into the stream, oh god, the horses! Why is that notification so loud and only I can hear it? Oh, and a new... Hold on. $100%? I lost? I've been live for 20 minutes! Rose Luminescence just completed the bar with 260. Litten named Salem and Rabambi to be Krilla. I cannot believe this. What? Who are you people? You're insane. Here's where I come clean. Guys, if you're a channel member, you already know this. But I have to admit something to you guys. We just completed the Dex. You guys win. I lost. But if you're wondering what the shipping and turnaround time is going to be on me turning those funds into the full Sitting Cutie Dex, so the thing is, so here's the thing. It's done. You guys did it. All right, this is going to be a big section of the decks. We've got a few more donations that were claimed on the last day that I streamed this. After we went over the mark, we had a lot of these that were claimed as like excess funds for the donation. But by the time I was done with this and rushing to get the rest of the shinies and editing the video, there ended up being a lot of Pokemon that just weren't claimed. So we're going to review the entire rest of the decks in this section. Starting with Prilla, the Rabombi. The wing situation, incredibly similar to Cutiefly. Mine came out a little bit sort of off-center. I don't know if you can tell. Got like stick figure arms and legs. The head is huge, but I think that's pretty in-game accurate. Overall, this is just great. Next up, Tapu Lele was also claimed by Rose Luminescence, and then Tapu Fini didn't end up being claimed. So I'm gonna start with Fini first, because it is the least bad with Fini that it was with Coco and Bulu, where the sort of outer shell couldn't hold its shape. Lele is the only one of the four that approaches the shell completely differently, because when it's in this form, it doesn't have like loose shell pieces, and so it's just constructed like a regular plush. Because of that, this ends up being, I think, the best representation of any of the four Tapus in plush form. I don't know that they could have done it like this for the other ones. The other ones were just kind of doomed from the start. Celesteela. This one was claimed by the Chaos Minded and named Apollo. And it is one of the most complex sitting cuties I've ever seen, though I don't know that it pulls it off quite as well as something like Guzzlord and later Duskmane Necrozma, just because, like, objectively, the layers, the colors, all the little details on it are really good. I think it could have gotten away with doing less to prioritize the structure of it more. I mean, look at this. The exhaust and everything, like, this is crazy. It's just that, like, the head's a little flimsy and the arms aren't the right shape. They're kind of bending, and so I would have liked to see more reinforcement in its shape over prioritizing its details. I guess it's just a weird design to have to adapt anyway. It's one of the more out there alien of the Ultra Beasts, and because of that, I think they had more to work for to get the sitting cutie right. The printing though and everything and the colors, like, look at those designs there. Like, that all is great. All right, Raichu. This is the Crown Alolan form at the top of my Alolan shelf here. Gotta be one of my favorite Alolan forms. I mean, it's adorable. What do you expect? It's Raichu. It's sitting on its tail the way that it does in its animations, which is really nice. So you can really picture it sort of floating there. This is very good. This one, by the way, was claimed by Duckling and named Abby. This is Abby. Duckling also claimed a Diglett named Gretchen. No one ended up claiming Dugtrio, so I'll review that now. This is a perfect Diglett because it is flat on the bottom here, and so you can just put it like anywhere, and it looks like it's coming out of the ground. Not really a lot to say about Diglett. I do like the texture of the rocks, though. I like the color. I like the way they separate the little cracked volcanic-looking rocks. Very nice touch. Similar situation with Dugtrio. It's just that, like, because there are three of them and their wigs are really big, they're sort of pushing at each other, and so the bottom doesn't end up nearly as flat as Diglett, but it still kind of can pull off the sort of coming out the ground vibe. It's just that it's a little bit more crowded of a design. This one was claimed by Orin MCPU and named Dot. What's really cool about this one is that the entire plush is this ultra reflective sort of looking fabric. They've got this really nice purple to white gradient on the inside. The whole thing is just really sparkly. I think, you know, there's a lot of cases with the Alola Dex where they have to, like, adapt something that's translucent or semi-transparent. They just didn't try with Dewpider and Araquanid. That's not fair. That's like the best they could have done with Dewpider and Araquanid. They used a mesh for the back part of Pheromosa. Nihilego, the entire thing is translucent, and they could have just not tried the way they did with Dewpider and Araquanid, but instead, I think the reflective texture across the whole thing is a really neat compromise for appearing like it's somewhat translucent, despite the fact that you can't really do that with plush materials. All right, Crabrawler and Crabominable, claimed by Nexus the Ferret King, named Snips and Freezer Box. Crabominable, interestingly, has appeared in the Dex Quest before. This was, you know, in the Wimp vs. Brawler video, I had it in my freezer. I think that's why the name Freezer Box was chosen. I really like this for similar reasons as to why I really like Crabrawler. Look at them go. Need I say more? These are awesome. No, but really though, these are just really good representations of the in-game models. I just recently talked about these Pokemon in one of the more recent episodes of the series, so I don't have much more to say. Whatever I can say about the Pokemon, I can say about the plushes. They are basically 1-to-1. Next up, we got Togedemaru, named Psalms, claimed by Tori Hoshi. I don't know how you mess up a sphere. That's not a sphere. Someone bonked him on the head too hard. From a distance, looks great. All the colors are good. Very reflective materials used for these individual spikes. The tail pointing up is nice. The face is great. The little floppy ears, amazing. It's literally just the fact that it's not a sphere, which is slightly disappointing, but it's good. All right, next up, another donation from Duckling. This is Sabrina Carpenter, the Primarina. Really, really good representation of this final stage starter. Like, it's genuinely impressive. It's another one of those situations where it doesn't really sit. It's just like a 1-to-1 with the in-game model. The fact that, like, the hair is as dense as it is and the head isn't constantly flopping around is baffling and incredibly impressive. The details on this are great. I would hesitate to say it's the best of the three in plush form, only because I think we have had Primarina plushes before that are of similar quality, whereas I think Decidueye is the most improved of previous depictions of the three that we've had so far. But this is still amazing. Now this one I really like. Rover to the Drampa, brought to you by the Knitted Zombie. I love Drampa. I can't wait to get around to hunting it for the Dex. I wish it was in a similar spot in the game as its counterpart Turtonator. I would have loved to hunt them at the same time, but we're not quite there yet. In fact, Komala is kind of holding me back from making more progress in Ultra Moon. Maybe we'll get around to it soon, but the plush, dare I say it, better than Turtonators if we're comparing version exclusive counterparts here, because it's another one of those situations where it's not really sitting. It's just a 1-to-1 representation of its in-game model. It's got a really nice range of movement. They didn't stitch its neck together, which I was kind of worried they would do, which means you can really make it like look around, which is nice. They've got all the shaping of like the fluffy bits just right. He's got his hands held together. Granted, those don't come apart. Those are stitched together, which is slightly unfortunate, but I think it's worth it for maintaining that nice little shape. Very friendly smile, great eyebrows. I love this Pokemon and I love the plush. It's just really nice. Very good colors too. All 4 of the Oricorios. Oh, Dewpider is dead. So Sensu Oricorio was claimed by Grubbles and named Box Fan. So this is Box Fan. I think it's my favorite of the 4 in-game. My least favorite of the 4 in plush form, just because the wings are attached together, and so there's not really a lot of range of movement. The colors are nice, though. It is a decent representation of the way it looks in-game. The other 3 weren't claimed. These are all unnamed. There's the, I actually don't remember their form names, but the pink one, the red one, and the yellow one. Interestingly, the yellow one was like sold out instantly everywhere, and I had to wait till they arrived internationally for me to get it from the Pokemon Center. I don't know why. Is this like incredibly popular? I'm not sure. I like the pom-pom texture. Very small, very good, very cute. Pink one is good. It's a nice representation of the way it looks in game, but it's just not my favorite of the 4, and so I can't, there's not really a lot for me to say about the plush form. The red one though, came out perfect. I love the way the wing is held up. I love the little like thumb wing down there, and the tail is just awesome. Colors really pop on this one. This is perfect. This is a perfect Oricorio. I don't know why, but nobody claimed Yungoos or Gumshoes. I'm kidding, I do know why. Nobody likes these guys, which is unfortunate because I do. Well, okay, I did. I have some recent beef with Yungoos that I'm a little bit mad at it for, but it's all for fun and games. It's jokes mostly. I do like these guys. I do think his forehead is a little too big and his face is a little too scrunched, but like, it's Gumshoes, so it can't really look more ugly than it already does. I like it. Yungoos is perfect. Like, I don't understand why people don't like Yungoos. Look how cute he is. Look at, like, come on. This is adorable. Why is he cheesing, bro? He's cheesing. I love him. He's got a little button nose. He's so soft. His pose is so funny. He's like, yeah, you know, this is perfect. I think definitely my favorite, like, Route 1 early mammal thing. What can I say? I'm an Alola fan. Rattata and Raticate. These are really good, but but they are very simple, so I don't really have a lot to say. They also went unclaimed. This is basically just the Gen 1 Rattata Sitting Cutie, but with a mustache. This one would be nice and fluffy. I do like the way he looks. Don't like the way he feels, because his back is a death trap. But besides that, I mean, this is a really good representation of Alolan Raticate. Don't care about Cantonian Raticate. This guy, though, so joyous. Meowth and Persian, I mean, it's Meowth and Persian. They're very good representations of their respective Pokemon. I love how stupid Persian looks. They got that perfect. Look at his dumb round face. I love this guy. Another Alolan Dark type that went unclaimed is Muck. This is another case of an incredibly dense plush that isn't really a plush. It's very solid like Buzzwole, which it kind of had to be for them to pose the arms in the way that they did. I love the colors. There's not really a lot of the issue of the white popping through. The reflective fabric on the little like crystalline parts of it is really nice. The posing is perfect. It is a solid weapon. Marini and Toxapex surprisingly were not claimed. I don't really have a lot to say about these just because they're pretty decent representations of the way they look in game. Nothing surprising, very solid. Not very plush, good to hold. Toxapex is a little difficult to display on a shelf just because of how much space it takes up. But like, again, it is a pretty perfect one-to-one representation of the way it looks in game, especially because it doesn't really have a need to sit. Morlul and Shiinotic also were not claimed. Everything is falling apart. I'll start with Shiinotic here. It's a very soft material on the top, a lot softer than usual actually. I really like the frills around. Nice colors. It doesn't really sit, and the head is pretty top heavy, so he's always looking up, but that's honestly not really even a bad thing. It kind of makes him look very whimsical. I started with Shiinotic though because Morlul is one of the surprising like favorites in that like it is just a perfect representation of the way Morlul looks in game. It's really small. It may be one of the smallest sitting cuties I have ever seen. There is hardly any plush here, but it is perfect in my opinion. This is great. A great thing to just have like a little decoration, which is exactly why I like the Pokemon in game as well. It's a nice like lore decorational Pokemon. I'm realizing now too that I meant to review Fomantis before Lurantis, but it wasn't claimed. I will say, of all the sitting cuties, this is genuinely one of my favorites. Much like Morlul, it is fairly one-to-one for its in-game model, but it also has the benefit of feeling amazing to like just hold on to. There's a lot of like grip. It's so soft, it's solid, it just feels like a real Fomantis. It's got like all the little petals. I don't know, it's just perfect. I feel like I'm repeating myself here. So in order to stop repeating myself, I'm gonna talk about Salandit and Salazzle, which they're a bit goofy with it. They're just slightly a bit off, I think. You can see Salazzle's head is kind of off to the side, and Salandit looks like he eated a bees. We got Marowak, which was somehow unclaimed. This is an awesome plush to finally have, because it is a representation of one of the first buddy Pokemon that started the whole channel. I love Alolan Marowak for that, and this is just a good representation of that. I love the fabric they use on the back to represent the sort of like pony printing that it has. The skull shaping is really nice. The bone that it's holding is a little bit flimsy. I wish it was a bit more solid, but I mean, it's a plush, so I don't really know what else you could do with that. Colors are really nice otherwise. This is very good. Somehow, we're only just now getting to Stufful, which is the shiny that started this whole thing. You may have noticed I got rid of the tags on all of these. Stufful was the only one whose tag I didn't cut for obvious reasons, despite the fact that it's included in the plush as well. This is the plush Pokemon, and so I'm glad to see that they did it justice. Hold on, let me recreate the thumbnail real quick. It's very good to hold. This one's really, I love this a lot. It's appeared in the series before. When I was doing the Comfey hunt, I had Comfey around my wrist because it kind of works perfectly as a little bracelet, which is awesome. I have come to appreciate Comfey a lot more since finding the shiny one. And speaking of that video, actually, we have Oranguru and Passimian. These are perfect. I love Oranguru's sort of like the purple coat or whatever it is, cape that he has. It just drapes over him. It isn't like really attached in too many points, and so it works really nice. He's already sitting in game, and so this is a really good representation of that. Looks very serious, angry, he's locked in, he's instructing. Passimian, though, interestingly, it doesn't sit, and so this is like a sitting representation of it. I think they did pretty well, though. I mean, he's holding on to his ball. He's kind of like, almost as if sitting on the pitch, listening to like what his coach is telling him. You know, I like this. They also recently just released a Passimian plush that isn't sitting, and so I'm glad that I have the options of it, because this is less of a direct one-to-one representation of what it looks like in game. But I mean, they nailed the eyes, the grass coming out from behind his head. They actually did better in this than the other plush I'm talking about, and he's got a funny little tail. I love Passimian. Passimian's awesome. Also, very surprised this entire line went unclaimed, but we've got the pseudo legends of the region, Jangmo-O, which is, believe it or not, my favorite first stage evolution of any Pokemon. I am obsessed with this guy. I love Jangmo-O, and pleased to say they nailed it. This is a perfect representation of Jangmo-O. Couldn't have asked for anything better. I love him. The other two, I have similar feelings to how I do with them in game, where like, they're still good, but just not as good as Jangmo-O. Lots of like flat felt pieces to get the scale across, which like was the case for the back of Jangmo-O, but not for the heart piece. On his head is like actually plush. It's got some volume to it. Whereas with these guys, it's all just like felt paneling, which like, I can't really blame them. There's not really anything else you could do. They have very overcomplicated designs, and I'm happy with how they turned out for like display, but they are not good to hold at all. They're very uncomfortable to hold. They look great for display. Not as a plush, though. Artana went unclaimed. I'm a little bit disappointed in how mine turned out. One of his arms came a little bent because it's like this flat felt piece. I've tried bending it back into place and it just doesn't really hold. It's a very delicate sitting cutie, and it kind of depends on how it's shipped, on how it ends up looking. It sits just nice, but it can also sort of look the way it does in-game. It's a very thin, there's, much like Morlul, not a lot of sitting cutie here, but what is here is a pretty good representation of what you get, so long as it doesn't get bent in transit. Conversely, this is Stakataka named Nubby, claimed by Orin, MCPU, and this is perfect. I mean, it's so solid that it can stand. It's not even really a sitting cutie. It stands. It actually can't sit because it's too stable. It stands on its legs like this. Like you can see, I hardly even need to balance it when I'm rotating around. It's just stable. Made with like solid cardboard on the inside, it feels like, and then like plush surrounds it. It does have a lot of the issue of like the white coming through on the printing though, which is a bit unfortunate. But I'll take it when it comes to the fact that it can stand. It's basically a Stakataka figure, which is nice. Necrozma in its standard form, as well as Dawn Wings and Dusk Mane. Pikipek is dead. So let's start with standard Necrozma here. So I carried this with me all over the place at Pokemon Worlds in my backpack. It was really nice to stick out. Oh, by the way, this one is named Help, and it's claimed by Atomic Frog. I really like the top half of this plush. It's where it gets to the bottom half that I'm a little bit confused. Its legs, I don't know if you can see this, they point up, and so when it sits, it's sitting like when a dog like butt scoots across the ground. I don't know why they made this choice, but like as far as when I was carrying it around at Worlds, it was sticking out of like the bottle pocket on the side of my backpack, and it sticking out like that was really nice. The top half is great. Bottom half, very confusing. I love Necrozma so much, and so I'm a little bit more picky about this one. The face is great. I love all the colors. As you can see, they did that perfectly. It really shines with the reflective material. It's just those legs that is weird to me. Makes it difficult to sit as well. Moving on, though, to Dawn Wings, which is named Clipsy, also by Atomic Frog. This is a really cool variation on the Lunala plush. It doesn't sit. I mean, it can kind of sit with the help of this stuff in the back. The colors are nice, and I love the additions of the Necrozma bits and like the sort of reflective embroidery they use for the eyes, and the color in the head is just really cool and really nice. I love that these are basically just the hands from the Necrozma plush. It's really cool. It really lends to that feeling of them being fused together when they use the same sort of scale and maybe even the same pieces that they had. But the most impressive one, and I think this is, besides like Fomantis, one of my favorite plushes in the entire line, just based on how impressive it is. I'm going to hold it up to my head for scale here. This is Duskmane Necrozma. And the amount of stuff they fit into this, by the way, also by Atomic Frog, named it Phaenon Kazlana. I don't know what this is a reference to. I think he requested specific music to be playing here as well, which I will do because of how much you contributed to this. But this is like the crown jewel of the Sitting Cuties to me. It's so dense. There are so many details, and the colors are really nice with this really light yellowish off-white, the golden yellow orange like accent parts, the reflective embroidery in the face and eyes, again with like the Necrozma arm bits that really lend to the feeling of it being like fused because they just are direct pieces from another plush entirely. All of this in a dense package in a Sitting Cutie form factor. And I hate to bring it up, but the size of this and the size of Guzzlord, what were they cooking with the schooling form Wishy-Washy? Oh my god. This is perfect, and I'm baffled that they were able to pull this off in the way that they did. It's gotta be one of my favorites. And then, also claimed by Atomic Frog, we have this Zeraora, which he lovingly nicknamed Little Genuinely? So, if you've been following this series for a while, you know that I started all of this with Zeraora being my least favorite Generation 7 Pokemon. In the Zeraora video, where I found the shiny one, that was my first ever lock removal hunt. And so doing that, you know, made me appreciate it more. I was researching it more for that video, which made me like it more. And genuinely, one of the things that has made me grow to appreciate Zeraora more while doing this whole thing, it's gonna sound silly, but just the intro and the fact that it ends with the lightning strike and the shiny Zeraora sprite, seeing that every time while editing and like while rewatching the series, it kind of feels like a mascot in a way, and it's kind of made me appreciate it more. My own stuff has made me like it more, which is kind of funny. But another thing that has made me like Zeraora more is this Sitting Cutie. Look how polite he sits. Isn't this awesome? I love him, actually. His little tail is a little bit scrunkled up. I don't know what they were doing with the shaping of this, but like, I really like how this plush is. He sits so politely, and it makes me appreciate Zeraora more, which is awesome. And now, finally, we are ending with, not intentionally, but these were one of the last things to be claimed, which is kind of surprising to me, but I guess it's a nice way to end the sort of review section of this video, because we're ending with the starters. Rowlet was claimed by Amelia, Popplio was claimed by Orin MCPU, and Litten was claimed by Rose Luminescence, and their names are Oliver, Pudding, and Salem. So, let's check them out. These ones, I don't have a lot to say because, you know, the thing that's cool about Sitting Cuties is that every Pokemon gets a plush. So something like Bruxish, which would never have gotten a plush previously, gets its moment to shine. But when it comes to the starters, we've had so many of these. In fact, just recently, you know, in like the last video, I showed off the keychains that I got at Worlds, and these are very similar to that. Oliver the Rowlet here. I mean, we've seen a million Rowlet plushes. I have a million Rowlet plushes. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's just that it's sitting now. We've seen this a million times. It's good. You cannot mess up a Rowlet plush. This is awesome. Very similar sort of situation with Litten. We've had many plushes similar to this. It's very good. It's Litten. His head is huge. His body is tiny. It's perfect. They got the reflective embroidery in the eyes. It's awesome. Popplio, I think, is the best of the three. Like, even comparing to the keychains that I got, this is another situation where, because it's always in this pose, it hardly even feels like a Sitting Cutie. It just feels like a good one-to-one representation of a Popplio plush in a small form factor, and that is really nice. And so that does it. Unless I'm missing something, which would be incredibly embarrassing, that is all of the Alola Sitting Cuties. I can't believe I own this. Thank you guys so much. I can't believe this. This is surreal. This feels like a dream. And the best part is, the day after the Plush Dex was completed, I went live to witness something I never thought possible. This entire video I've been alluding to the fact that I didn't think this idea would be doable without 10,000 subscribers. It was an arbitrary goal, but it felt reasonable to me, and of course, all this started before the TheNovaLeague hit that milestone, making me worried that we wouldn't be able to pull this off. But the day after we somehow actually did pull it off, I got to see this happen. 2, 1! There's no way. I just got like the chills. 2! 2! 3! This is crazy, you guys. This is crazy. I'm on the edge of my seat. We're back up to 1. It's gonna be funny too, because we'll hit 10, and then it will go back. Oh! That's crazy. 1! Oh my god, this is awesome. I get to see us hit it twice. The gift that keeps on giving. There it is again! Oh my god. Something you'd think you'd only see once in a lifetime. I've been uploading videos on YouTube since I was 10 years old. I'm 24. 10,000 subscribers always felt like this distant, unobtainable thing, and yet, here we are. Thank you guys so much. I could genuinely cry. You have no idea how much this means to me, as silly as it seems, but you all were so generous, and you didn't need to be. Some of you attached some really heartfelt notes with your messages. All of your comments showing your appreciation for the Dex Quest, those of you I met at Pokemon Worlds in Anaheim who told me in person just how much you're enjoying the series, hitting 10,000 subscribers is more than just a number. It represents to me that what I'm doing here isn't a waste of time, and I hope not a waste of your money. I cannot fathom that anyone would join this channel and become a paid member despite the limited perks, that anyone would subscribe to my Twitch, that anyone would fund the Dex, that anyone would go above and beyond and fund the excess charity donations, that anyone would buy and read and review my books. It is overwhelming. This room in this apartment would not exist without all of your support. From as much as an insane donation to as little as a like and comment, it all means so much to me. I can only justify continuing this series because of you. I often worry that when I sit all day shiny hunting or editing that I'm wasting my time. But the idea that these silly videos can make someone's day even slightly better, the idea that I can share my love of the Pokemon franchise and the Alola region with others, that I'm not just speaking into a void, that the internet can bring people together in such strange ways. I am overwhelmed with your support. And this is a physical manifestation of you. Whether you donated or not, this does not exist without the viewers of TheNovaLeague. It's just literally not possible without you. And so, you know, I spend a lot of my time writing. I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on words, and yet I still can't quite describe the gratitude that I feel for all of you for helping make this stupid dream a reality. I could comb over a dictionary or a thesaurus, I could wax poetic, I could go on and bloat this video's runtime to 4 times its length, but none of it would adequately represent what I feel. And so, really, all I can bring myself to say is, well, thanks.
10 subscribers. Now you're probably wondering why I made it out of dirt, because 10 is pathetic, but it's still double digits. And then when we get up to 100 subscribers, we'll add another 0 out of, let's say, stone, something a little bit more valuable when we get to another 0. But we can always go back here and look back at our first 2 digits. That would be awesome. Help me reach 100. That would very much appreciate that. And see you guys later.